this is like completely different. So.
Coach Davis came in today and said you kind of had to stop people and say, hey, we're out here supposed to have some fun.
Yeah.
The intensity that is kind of ratcheted up during practice, how have you taken that role now as kind of the leader of the group? Is it kind of you and Ethan, and then are you guys the leader of that defensive end group now?
Yeah, I'd say it would be me, Ethan, and Marcus Stripling. Mm-hmm. And as far as taking the intensity of it, it's definitely different, but it's good. I mean, it's fun again. I mean, so as far as everything is concerned, and what Coach Davis does a really great job of is, in practice is in practice. If he yells at you, it's Coach Davis yelling at number 14 or number 40. At the end of the day, it'll be Coach and then Reggie or Ethan or Strip, and then make sure he lets us know that he loves us and we love him. That love's always reciprocated. So I think as far as that's concerned, we're building a culture of excellence, but at the same time a family environment of love too.
What's the fun part about it? Like what's made it fun now for you?
We're flying around, making plays. There's the stress of it is stressful, absolutely. I'm not going to take anything away from that, but it's more stressful, but raw straining to do the right thing and have fun while we're doing it. I think that's the biggest thing is we're making plays and having fun while we're doing it again.
How much different is it this year with a coach with such a defensive background, in that top role?
As far as that's concerned, it's completely different. It's with the previous coaches that we had an offensive mind. You saw how our offense was. Well, now we have someone who's been the gold standard for defense, who is our head guy. You see how our defense is. So as far as that's concerned, it is different, but it's different in a good way.
When you first found out he was coming, did your excitement level, bounce up because of that? Because of what you see the offense doing, under an elite offensive mind, and what you felt like this defense was capable of?
Yeah, absolutely. Fun fact: just early in my recruitment, I wanted to go to Clemson and play for Coach V there. And obviously, I ended up here, and now he ended up here, so it all just kind of worked out together. But absolutely.
What have you seen from him so far? It sounds like everybody's been saying he's transitioned really well into being a head coach for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't tell that this was his first head coaching job. So he knows how to get us to listen. When he speaks, we do listen. He has full command of our attention. And whenever he does coach you, it's from a place of love, and because this guy's done it before.
The mic that he uses to get everybody's attention during, I guess, when y'all are doing plays or whatnot during practice. Do you ever catch yourself going, please don't call me out type of deal? Or is it like when you notice you make a mistake? I mean, because it's very loud.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're definitely building a culture of accountability. So if I mess up, I know I mess up. It's one of those things where, did he see it, did he not see it? Regardless, they're going to see it on the film, but did he see it right then?
Yeah.
And sometimes you are the guy who gets called out, and that's okay because, again, it's a culture of accountability. Yeah. So if you do mess up, then don't mess up the same thing twice, and we'll get it corrected the next day, and don't make that mistake again.
How do you feel about the mic? I mean, is it different?
Yeah, but it's definitely way different. I'm not really used to a guy screaming, not necessarily just a mic. So that's definitely something I've had to adjust to. But again, it's nothing bad.
But we talked to you in the lead up to the Alamo Bowl. You're already talking about embracing that leadership role. How big was that for you, just kind of setting the table for what you've done here in spring ball to kind of, again, take that next step forward to be one of those leaders with your group?
Really big, as far as that's concerned. I'm not a sophomore anymore. I'm a junior, so I'm an upperclassman now. So, and it seems like it's gone by like that. Now, I remember my first game. I remember my first rep. It was Missouri State here in the COVID year. So it definitely has gone by really quick, but it's definitely shown that I have matured, and we have guys around, or I have guys around me who have taken that next step into to be leaders, to come from maybe a role where they weren't playing as much to now they're the guys. Now we need them to be dudes. So it's definitely affected me in a positive way. This whole leadership thing, especially with the defense and with our group, it's newer, but at the same time,
I know it's early, but where are you guys in your defensive install? How would you assess so far through a few days of practice and obviously out during the offseason?
I would say we have a lot in. You know, I wouldn't say we're nowhere anywhere close to the full thing, but we do have a lot in. So we're running through that, and again, just getting better every day.
When I watch Clemson in the past, and obviously Coach Venables when he was here, the defense, it seems like it might be kind of complicated. I know there's a lot of changes week to week, things like that. So from your perspective, has it been a complicated system to learn? I know they're trying to make it easy on you guys language-wise, but from what you've done in the past, like what do you think?
I wouldn't say it's complicated. What I will say though is that you always need to be studying it because it is very, very tedious, and there are some parts that are repetitive. But it's something that you do need to study. You can't just walk away from it like on a weekend and expect to come back on a Monday and be crisp.
Is it a deeper playbook than what you've seen?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of plays, but at the same time, it's knowing your responsibility, knowing what you're supposed to do. Like if it's a run, if it's a pass, or if you get this kind of block, like so. It's really just knowing what you're supposed to do in that scheme, which is why you have to study it because that could always change.
Well, you came in during 2020. That obviously was a COVID year. You said you're a junior. Have you thought about the COVID year, the extension, that +1 type deal? Is that something that's crossed your mind at all?
And refers like what my eligibility?
Yeah.
Not really. It's like last year I was still technically a true freshman, which kind of blew me because it's like, I mean, I'm technically a true freshman, but at the same time I played, I played in like 8 games my freshman year, so am I really a freshman? So it's hasn't really crossed my mind in that sense, but at the same time it's good. It's a good thing to just kind of have in the back of your mind, like in your back pocket.
You talked about your relationship with Miguel. What was your first impressions of him, and how has that come along here over these last few months?
When I first met Coach Jay, it was a really awkward situation because like the new coaching staff had got here and we were prepping for the Alamo Bowl, so our old coaching staff was still here. So it was like we had like 2 coaches for everything, and they could Coach B pretty much held them off until through the Alamo Bowl, so we could have that last chance to play with our previous coaching staff, and then that introduction was made, and the bond has just been strengthened. But as far as first impressions, he seemed like a pretty good stand-up guy, a pretty good human being. Just had a good head on his shoulders. As far as he always talked about his family and God. And I think that was a really big thing because I'm a family man. I grew up a Christian. I am a Christian. So, and as far as how it's strengthened, how it's just been nurtured, it's definitely been big. He coaches us hard, but he loves us harder, and I think that's the biggest thing.
We got a little bit of a window into his personality and his sense of humor before. Does that come through when he's working with you guys as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The guy you see on camera is the guy that you're going to get all the time. So.
What's it like having that in a coach on top of everything else?
Having someone you can play around and joke around with, but then when the switch is flipped, it's flipped. I think that's really big and really important because that's like the real world. You know what I mean? When you are, let's say you're out and you see your boss, right? Well, if you see your boss casually, it's a casual thing, but when you get back in the workspace, it's time to work. So I think it's more of that kind of situation.
Reggie, do you have a favorite saying from him yet? He told us today, if you're a fork, don't use the cereal.
Yeah, right. Not yet because he has so many, and I can't really say I've heard any of them twice yet. So we're still trying to grasp his vernacular, his vocabulary. But I'm sure if you ask me this start of the season, I'll have one.
He seemed to throw out a Brent impersonation there at one point in his press conference a bit ago. Does he impersonate Brent a little bit, Coach Venables?
He impersonates everybody.
Okay.
It's always comical in our meetings. Whenever he's doing an impersonation or he's just trying to present the information in different ways that we can understand. So if it's by an impersonation, then so be it.
Does he have a good impersonation of anybody, or are they all just...
They're okay. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and they're all right.
Okay.
Does anybody dare impersonate him? Yeah.
I don't think we've gotten there yet. I don't think we've gotten just a free chance to, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure by the end of the spring it'll happen.
Has anybody tried to impersonate Brent yet?
Oh, absolutely.
Is anybody good at it yet?
They're working on it. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's right there yet. But
You
I'm
don't want to name the names yet, huh?
yeah, right. But I'm sure we're getting close.
We've got the cameras right here if you want to give it a shot.
No.
Hey, Reggie, you talked about the differences in the coaching relationship versus the personal relationship, and we've seen some changes with that just structurally in the program. We talk about soul mission, we talk about some of the other stuff that Brent's brought in. How much different has that felt on the inside?
I'd say we're more like a family now. You know, we've done the hard stuff together. You know, I remember, you know, being down in Stillwater. I remember losing to Baylor, and like that, we haven't really lost that many people. We've actually gained a whole lot more. So it's pretty much the same core group of guys that we had last year. But at the same time, it's like they were just like your teammates. Now I can confidently say I'm surrounded by my brothers. I feel like that's the biggest thing, is we're now a family as opposed to a bunch of guys wearing the same jersey.
Did you feel that fairly quickly, or how did that?
Absolutely, yeah, no, I'd say maybe through our second week of workouts, you could tell that we were all starting to come together as an entire unit.
Is that surprising, just how quickly this thing's kind of come together under the new regime, I guess? Or is it, when you go through something like you guys did, you know, when the old staff left, is something like that is galvanizing to bring everybody together?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't really realize it, but they've only been here 3 months. Okay, it's March, right? So when we put that in the grand scheme of things, well, these guys have only been here for 3 months, and we've already made this much progress. We've already made these strides in the right direction. So I can only imagine how it's going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Anything else for Reggie?
Appreciate it, man.
Cheers.
Thanks.